Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin Prediction. This particular episode, I'm gonna do a price prediction. Um, just, uh, just something that I was inspired to do by watching somebody else, watching another YouTuber, and I'll go ahead and talk about that YouTuber here. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on. Oh, by the way, if anybody know who this is? This is part of my artwork here. I'll give you some clues. Maybe you know this quote. Oh no, I'll save it for later. Just take a quick look and see if you can recognize this person, and if you do, great. You know more than someone who doesn't know. So, all right, there we go. Here's this person right here. So, I watch a lot of YouTubers. I really enjoy watching the new YouTubers coming on, and this person I've seen quite a bit. At first, I thought this guy's just spamming YouTube with videos. You get a lot of those, so forgive me for that. But I finally, clicked on one of his videos, and I started listening to what he had to say. And he makes a video pretty much every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. But he is making a video every day until the next halving, which I thought that was kind of interesting. And he talks about a lot of stuff. And again, I like watching people who have the courage to do something and not be afraid to do it. The lone nut who's making video, it's just that simple. Just make a video and talk about Bitcoin, right? Not that hard. So this person literally talks about Bitcoin most of the time, and has a countdown till the next halving. So, okay, very interesting. In this particular episode, he talks about the recent price drop and everything, and he's asking, or he's said at the end, where he'd like to see more videos on the analysis of the price, why it dropped or whatnot. So I'll go ahead and I'll do a price prediction, also a chart analysis on the price of Bitcoin on the various exchanges. I'll just go right to it here. All right, so this is Bitstamp, and as you see, it's no longer 4 digits, which it is what it is. It was kind of interesting. I trade peer to peer, and so when it was like 1100, almost 1200, it was almost a pain in the ass to calculate how many Bitcoin I had to send to someone, because instead of putting like 3 digits when I calculated, well, actually 3, 4, 5 if I add the cents. I kind of round up now, so I only add 3 digits. But now I had to add 4 digits to the calculation. I was like, oh man, I kept putting, like, when it was 1135, I for some reason I kept calculating 135 or something like that. And of course, when I saw how many Bitcoins this guy was going to get, I was like, this is not right. Oh, I forgot, I need to add 1,135 or something like that. So, anyways, I did purchase Bitcoin. I didn't get a lot of Bitcoin, Not that I'm used to. I'm kind of used to getting uh, more than you know, more than a certain amount. But because the price is so high, I'm getting less. But I know I'm getting the dollars, you know, U.S. dollars worth. It's just you look at how much you get, and you're like, wow, I should have bought more. Should have bought more when it was at a lower price. And I did. I did. I also I did a lot of reinvesting as well into other projects. So, but I still have the amount of Bitcoin that I want, and I've been adding on to it. So I'm not scared of the price drop. Mainly I trade peer-to-peer, but this chart analysis is for people who like to play video games. Like trading on the exchanges is my opinion. You're playing a video game. If you do trade on the exchange, I highly recommend once you buy Bitcoin, just take it out and put it into a wallet you control. Apparently there was some issues with Coinbase. People couldn't sell, and when the price went down, people couldn't buy. And yeah, that's why I never use Coinbase. And I've also been hearing that people have been trying to buy, and they couldn't. Their order was quote unquote for their protection canceled. It wouldn't surprise me when the price was really high and people were trying to sell that eventually their bank will not accept their deposit. Um, I think a lot of that goes on because that happened to me when I was using Coinbase. I would sell my Bitcoins and have them transferred to a bank account when I did have a bank account. I don't have that many bank accounts anymore. They just close my account because I use Bitcoin. But the bank would not accept that deposit, so it got rejected. So you're probably gonna hear about that eventually, or maybe some people. Well, I'm sure it's happening. The price is so high. Coinbase is not a very good company. I highly recommend people not to use Coinbase. If you're getting into it and you just want to play around with it, then yeah, use Coinbase as a way to learn about Bitcoin. But if you're trading and investing and all that stuff, forget about them. You'll come to a roadblock. Eventually, you come to a wall with them, where you realize that they're no different than a traditional bank in a lot of ways. Sometimes even worse, because this is all unregulated. It almost seems like they could just do anything. Cancel your transfer, cancel your buy order, your sell order, freeze your account. There's no protection. So anyways, let me get back to the chart analysis. So this is alright, so for those of you who like to play video games, trading on the exchanges is a video game, okay? I'll do a chart analysis. So if you look at the overall, I'm on a 1 week here. If you've seen my Christmas video, my Christmas special, I did talk about how towards the end of the year you'll probably see a lot of people buying Bitcoin to avoid paying capital gains tax. Now there's a difference between avoiding and evading. So if you don't try to pay the least amount of taxes, if you're overpaying, you're stupid. The whole point, the goal is to pay the least amount of taxes. So a lot of people probably seeing how the IRS is getting all this information on users probably realize, well, they're going back to 2013, which is 3 years. If you see my last video, where I talk about the IRS acting in bad faith. So probably a lot of people said, hey, if that's the case, what I'll do is I'll just buy all the Bitcoin I can. That way I can show I made no capital gains after everything's said and done. So they just bought into the end of the year. the momentum really kept it going up. And even into the Chinese New Year, the momentum was going up. And the Chinese did the same thing. I don't know if they paid taxes or not over there. I don't know their system, but I I have a feeling that there are a lot of U.S. customers on these Chinese exchanges. I have an account at one of the exchanges, Chinese exchange. I have an account with basically all these exchanges up here. Okay, all these exchanges, even Bitsy. Yep, even Bitsy. I don't trade on them though. I don't trade them. I even have an account on Poloniex, but I don't trade on that either. I am a pure peer-to-peer trader. I trade out in the real world with real people. I don't use a bank. I don't transfer or wire money. I most of the time I do meet to buy, but if you are a person who acts on good faith and you're able to show that you are a person of good character and of good faith, it is you will have the privilege of receiving Bitcoin from others in advance, and so and there's other reasons for it too. Physical cash is very hard to move around. So when you buy a certain amount, it's sometimes not really worth quite meeting up. Depends where you go. Now you got to keep in mind, I travel all throughout America, Canada, and I'll be traveling into South America. So I trade peer to peer. When I say I trade peer to peer, peer to peer. And so I have a different take on the market, but I'm going to do a chart analysis for those of you who like to play video games here. So overall, if you look at this chart, you see a little pattern here. You're seeing this pattern right here. It's on a larger scale, but unfortunately, this only goes up to a week. If you're able to zoom out, I think maybe TradeView does that, but I'm not on TradeView. Okay. If you could zoom out, because if you think about the price here at 250, and what it went up to, went up five times, 5x. Well, if you look at the price here and it's about 1,000. And this is the same scenario. I mean, you can almost see these repeating patterns of a little bowl shape right here. You'll see another one coming here again, and then you start seeing another one. And the thing about chart analysis, Fibonacci's, what else? Triangles. People make triangles and everything, and make triangles and shit. You'll see that they act as some kind of fractal, and it's amazing. There is some research into that when it comes to chart analysis and trading. And what you'll get is the same fractal when you zoom in and when you zoom out. And I think that's what you're seeing overall. My target price is still 1,600. But what's going to happen is basically you're going to see this kind of repeating pattern. And that's why you're probably going to see this down. Now, I did notice something, and so here's what I think why the price went down. It's the new year, the beginning of the year. On their, at the end of the year, I said that buy in, that way you can avoid paying capital gains tax. Well, if people did that, then that would make sense why the price went up at the end of the year. And the momentum carried it into the new year. And then, of course, today or last night, you saw something like this. Whoa. You saw something like that. So everyone's cashing out. Now they're cashing out on the exchanges. Will they eventually cash out, like wire that money out? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. You know, I don't trade on the exchanges, so I don't know anything about that. I've never had a wire come out of the exchange. And when you do a wire, it's kind of like they like to limit it, or you'll have to wait a week or whatever. But that could be the reasons. It's a new year, so they're just cashing out. And so they'll have a whole year to report that transaction, which will probably give them another opportunity at the end of 2017 to buy back in again. But nonetheless, my target price is still 1600. Now, once it gets up to 1600, I do feel, and I will predict, that there will be certain global events, certain events around the globe that will propel it beyond 1600. 3,000, 5,000. So if you look at today's price at 1,000, and you times that by 5, you get 5,000. So it does make sense to be in the 5,000. Look for a $5,000 price tag on Bitcoin. So let me do a quick chart analysis here, and if you're wondering how to trade, I'll give you some quick examples, and then based on that, you could do some research and adapt it to your style and your risk tolerance. Okay. So if you look at the daily and the way the price is moving, you kind of have to go on a daily. I mean, you can. Sorry if it's blurry. Let me try to. That usually makes it work. There we go. So on a 12-hour, the price is moving so much you have to really pull back. If you go on any shorter than a 12-hour, you're basically tunnel visioned. You're going to miss all the signals. So on a 12-hour, you really don't see much. You really got to pull back even more. So that's what it looks like 12 hours. So if you pull on a 12-hour, and I'm pulled back all the way, I'm not like zoomed in or anything, but I could zoom in. You'll see that it touched the longer term. This is a weighted average. And sometimes trading can be so simple as two lines crossing each other. The shorter term moving average, weighted moving average, crossing over the longer term weighted average, like right about here, this area. What's funny, when you zoom in this area at that time, this seemed like, wow, a big move. But now if you compare it to the moves that happened, this is nothing. This would have been the perfect time. What price was that? Whoa, 605. Yeah. Anyways, everyone had the same chart that I had when it was 605. So it could be just as simple as two lines crossing over. Okay. But you want to know how to trade this. Okay. So I have to back up, way back up. We'll have to back up further. That's why I'm on a weekly. So if I've talked about wave theory, and a lot of traders are into wave theory. Okay. And so the idea is that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 being the last leg going up. From 1 to 3 is the longest, and then 5 is not as long. So 1 to 3 is the longest portion of the wave. 5 is not as long. It's almost, but it's just the last push. And then from there, on the 5th wave, it consolidates, going down. Same thing, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But obviously it doesn't go below this low. So if a price goes below this low, obviously that's a downtrend. So if you imagine, and also if you look at the RSI, you could see it's almost, it looks like it's going to be starting to crest, like you see here, cresting, coming down. It's going to be cresting. Now it doesn't mean that it's going to like go down. It could hit to the 50 and then go back up again, and the trend could still continue. That happens quite a bit. I'm still looking at the volume, and there's very little volume. So I still believe there are a lot of people who are holding onto their Bitcoin. They weren't scared one bit because they had their Bitcoins in their own wallet. They couldn't sell it unless they found an actual cash buyer to sell it to, or if they spent it. Um, so I still think there's people still holding. This price action that you saw were basically all the people who bought, I would say, well, I wouldn't even say that. I would say from here, because this is where the price is kind of rounding about. Uh, all the people who bought from here to up here, they're the one that sold this stuff. So there's your support. I think it will go back up and hit this on I'm on an hourly. Uh, it will go back up. See, you can see it's hitting this average here. It's going to hit that average and probably go down, and go down even further. Okay, the price will actually, the candlestick will actually go down all the way down to here to 900. Eventually, it'll take a jab going up again, and it'll make that wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on a wave going the wave that's going down on an uptrending. I have to go back and forth on this. So this is a very strong uptrend, and it'll probably stay a very strong uptrend. Again, my target price is 1600. So, but you'll probably see some moves, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the wave going down is not that big. It's just a consolidating wave going down. And once it consolidates, and the RSI probably most likely go back down to 70, perhaps down to 50, but I think it's just going to crest up, touch 70, and mind you, this is on a weekly, and so all it has to do is touch 70 and then go back up again just a little bit, and it'll go higher than that high right there. So there's that. So you got to think of a wave theory, like it's hit a wave. So the wave is coming, it's gone up, it's crested, and it's coming down, right? Crashing. So that's what you're seeing here. And like I said, a lot of people are probably cashing out because they don't have to do anything with tax compliance for the rest of the year. So they could just do whatever with the cash. They'll report it at the end of this fiscal year. So they got a whole year to mess around. Probably some of them cashed out on top so they could pay for taxes for last year. That's also a possibility as well. Anyways, as it comes down, as the wave comes down crashing, you know how the wave just comes out to the shore and then the water pulls back, and as the water is pulling back, the next wave is building up that that energy. So the wave is building up on that energy as this big wave just crashed down, and it crashes down hard because it was a big wave. And as the big wave crashes down, the water just goes on the shore, but when it starts pulling back, as the next wave comes in, it's building that energy, and then the next wave will go ahead and push it up. So when you come to these prices where they move a lot more, the higher the price, it's a smaller percentage, but the dollar amount is bigger. Like when Bitcoin was $100, a 50% increase is 150, right? If that was the case at 1,000, then it would be at 1,500, which kind of seems hard on a one day. I can believe Bitcoin going up $50 when it was at $100, moving up $50 in one day. That's possible. It's done that. But when you get up to the larger price, $1,000, it doesn't really move 50%. It starts moving 5%. but it moves 5% every day. And you got to look at a more weekly view, because the percentage is a small, but the dollar amount is large. And so there's that perception that it's wild, but it's really not percentage wise. So anyways, and okay, so let me quickly go on to different styles of trading. How would you trade this? If you know anything about turtle trading, if you Google turtle trading, it's very similar to a momentum trade, and to a lesser extent, momentum trade is basically average cost buying. So you buy a little bit every day, whether it goes up or down. Uh, That's a momentum trade, sort of speak. Although on a average cost buying, uh, you're always buying whether it goes up or down. And I'll, I'm going to tell you something. If you just average cost buy, just buy Bitcoin on a daily basis, a little bit at a time, where the price goes up or down and everything, you will be you will do better than 75% of the people who fuck around with altcoins and trade in and out of Bitcoin and just do all sorts of stupid shit, mining and whatever, playing fucking video games. Um, if you just bought Bitcoin every day, whether the price goes up, the price goes down, just bought Bitcoin every day, whatever you're comfortable with, a small amount, and you just build that up, you will do better than 75% of the people who trade, uh, on the exchanges, literally, because those people, all right, out of 100% of those people, 50% of them are losers. The other 50 are winners. What you're doing is you are average cost buying, and if you just keep doing that long enough, because Bitcoin's not about when you buy in or when you sell, okay? It's how long you've been trading, or how long you've been investing. That's what it's about. And if you just did this for 3 years, okay, if you did this since the, okay, if you if you simply if you started here at the top and just average cost buy for 3 years, you would have made more money than 75% of the people who trade altcoins and all this other stupid shit. You would have done better. You done better than 75% of those people. Okay, the money you start here, you work your way down, and on the way up, you would have made this move up, because by the time you get down here and you average cost buy, by the time you make it down here, you're probably thinking, you know, you probably lost, you probably did lose money, but that money would be gained back probably right about here, because when it gets this low, you get more Bitcoin. The lower the price, the more Bitcoin you get. And that's the power of average cost buying. That's the power of momentum trading. And you would have broken even right about here at that point. And then all this is all gain. You would have beat 75% of those people who trade altcoins or buy mining contracts or get involved in a Ponzi scheme. So that's a simple way of doing it. The other way of momentum trading, which is also called turtle trading, is very similar to that, but except you don't buy every day. You buy at a certain you're buying at breakout points. So you're working within a range, both price going down and price going up. And so the only drawback of turtle trading, momentum trading, is you lose money on trades when the price works in a range. So at this small portion in time right here, you would have lost money. But if you were turtle trading, you would have made money going up, you would have made money going down. This is the only time you would have lost money, when it's trading is in a range. Then you would have made money going all the way up here. It's a momentum trading, or turtle trading. Look it up. So these are different styles. So now I'm going to go to my artwork. Alright? Sorry if this video is kind of long, but I'm trying to explain a lot of things. And, price isn't about everything. So back to my artwork here, and if anybody knows who this is, well, let's go. Let's go to it. And there you go. I hope that helps. And please, people, support this person. This person's making a video every day until the next block halving. That's pretty impressive. That's quite a commitment. I have to respect that a lot. So, well, that person is this person right here, George Santayana. And the reason I have him in my artwork because I'm using his quote, which I think is relevant in Bitcoin now and just everything. But that particular quote is right here. I actually got two quotes. Oh, you know what? I ruined it. I was gonna say the quote to have you guess, but it's all right. There it is. So those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. I lived through the 2013 Mt. Gox. I lived through all that and then up to date, and I've learned a lot. What I've learned is don't trade on exchanges. Don't put your Bitcoin on exchanges. Do not bother selling your Bitcoin on exchanges. Matter of fact, if you want the price to go up, buy Bitcoin and hold on to it on a wallet that you control the private keys to, because the trading engine can crash. Coinbase is, I don't know, offline. Your order doesn't go through. Your wire transfer is delayed. All sorts of weird centralized bullshit. And people who trade on those, you're fucking stupid. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're fucking stupid. People who trade in and out of different altcoins, you're fucking stupid. That's just my opinion. I know everyone has one like an asshole, but that's just my opinion, okay? And so those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. So please, learn from the mistakes I've done, and it seems fun, like you're doing something, but really you're not doing anything. You're just playing a video game. And the other quote is right here. Only the dead have seen the end of war. So all those people who want to see the end of war, well, you know what to do. You can all kill yourselves. That was I don't know, that was a bad joke maybe. But how true is that? As long as you're alive, we'll always be fighting. Fighting for ourselves, fighting against the opposition, fighting against the Dark Overlord. Only the dead have seen the end of war. So keep fighting the good fight. Anyways, let me go back to my artwork here, and I will explain a little bit of it. And the reason why I use his quote is also, please, people, remember the past. Let's not make the same mistake. Let's ensure our survival. And the reason why I have George Santayana here as a younger person is basically, there's no picture of him as a child, but inside each and every one of us, inside us all, every man, woman, and child, is a child. Inside all of us, there's a child. And If you still believe in the impossible, if you still believe in the impossible, you can still do the impossible. If your inner child is still alive, there's no limit to what you can do. You can fly through the air, climb on walls, move mountains, walk on water, feed the world with one loaf of bread. But if your inner child is dead, then everyone's a fool. And you have to be foolish to believe in the impossible. You have to be foolish to do the impossible. It's okay to be the lone nut. It's okay if you don't get a million views. It's okay to make videos even though very few people watch them. Just keep doing it, because all you need is just one person to join you. And then everybody else wants to be a part of the whole fucking thing, you know. So don't let anyone stop you. Listen to your inner child. I know we all grow up to be callous. You know, some of us grow up to be really callous, really old. But, you know, just be real. Be true to yourself. Believe in what you're doing. Anyways, this concludes this episode. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.